on to our guest. When radio, or just the facts, ma'am, is a line often quoted and is said to have emerged from the show Dragnet sometime in the 50s and the 60s. But the podcast, on the other hand, is radio when radio escapes from management. It is the triumph of the oldest communication technology in human history. One person talking and another person listening. The podcast is a democracy in its purest form. Nobody gets a microphone and nobody gets an editor. But everyone has a microphone. But our guest, in his past incarnation as a reporter, has covered almost the majority of beats in government to help make sense of all that's happening in government and politics. Joining us now is Christian Esguerra of Facts First. Christian, magandang gabi. Si Lourdes Vera po ito. Factsnatics din, silent nga lang.
Magandang gabi, Sir Lord. Huwag mo naman ako i-sir kasi huwag mo ako ipo. Trivia po, no? Si Lord De Vera, senior ko sa UST yan. 5 years ahead. Kaya siya ang Sir Lord natin. Magandang gabi.
Parang mas masakit yung pang-apat na senior. O, parang siya yung malaking pako na gumanon talaga sa ating palad. Sir Christian, okay, alam ko mamaya-maya ay may upcoming episode kayo at mukhang may kinalaman pa rin ito doon sa bilangan ng mga kakailangan ng senador ba? Or depende pa rin ho ba yan sa mga mangyayari?
Of course, hanggang ngayon dinidispute pa rin itong si House.
Hello, sir.
Botohan last week, no? Yung mga Quorum 12. Can you hear me? Malinaw naman,
Medyo napuputol-putol lang.
So hanggang hindi pa rin
Christian.
makamove on si ito pa okay na?
Okay, ayan, better.
Ayan. Better na. Malinaw na ba? Kasi linaw na ba ng mga Facebook Live ni Alan Peter Cayetano?
Kasi
Ayan.
linaw.
Actually, nakikita natin problema rito sa Senado. Meron isang kampo na hindi makamove on kahit natanggal siya sa bisa ng Quorum of 12. Of course, ang problema, hindi pa rin makapagtalaga ng official na Senate President dahil kailangan ng 13. Pero abangan natin, no, kung matuloy itong special session, most likely makakakuha ng ika-13 miyembro itong Gatchalian Bloc. And it's very interesting kung sino yung likely na tatalon doon sa kabila. So, tingnan natin yung mga hindi umattend noong bogus Blue Ribbon Committee hearing na pinangunahan ni Cayetano at saka ni Marcoleta. We're talking here of Senator Bongo, we're talking here of Senator Joel Villanueva. So, among them, most likely, yung magiging ika-13. Pero as we speak, wala pa namang official, wala pang formal.
Okay, Christian, last April, nagmarka kayo ng 2nd anniversary ng Facts First, no? Tama ba?
April yan. Nakalimutan ko yung araw Basta April.
April. Tapos, pero nagsimula siya as segment sa isang news channel as early as 4 years ago, no? So, iniwan mo ang traditional broadcasting at umanib ka sa sa inyong independent platform. You gain freedoms, pero meron ka rin bang na-inherit na mga pressures supposedly ngayon? At ano-ano yung mga yan? Maliban sa kausap mo si Ronald Llamas gabi-gabi.
Oo nga problema, hindi ko mapagpag si Ronald Llamas Actually, I started yung Facts First as a segment. Explainer segment siya rin sa ANC program ko before. I started it in, I think, 2019. And then I started the podcast 2019 din. So, maraming challenges because initially when I moved to independent journalism dito sa podcasting, I realized that I had to reintroduce myself. And medyo masakit doon sa ibang mga na nakasalumuha ako dito sa platform na ito. I had to explain my reason for being once again. So even if I had a substantial experience as a legit journalist for more than 2 decades bago ako tumalon sa podcasting, marami pa kasing hindi familiar doon sa sa platform itself. So I remember may mga dating political figures ako na madali makausap when I was part of the big network. All of a sudden, hindi mo sila hindi na sila gano'n ka-accessible when I started doing podcasting, and I had to explain myself kung ano ba 'tong podcast, saan ba siya lalabas. Ang usual na tanong sa akin, "Ano ba 'yang format na 'yan? Saan ba 'yan? Saang network 'yan?"
Mhm.
So, I had to reintroduce or reestablish my legitimacy dito sa panibagong platform. Pero, masaya siya dahil masaya lure na walang boss, eh. Yung walang,
Mhm.
nakikialam doon sa content and, walang nagse-censor. And I think that's the most, important thing. That's very liberating.
Posible pa bang bumalik sa conventional journalism, yung beat reportage after this format para sa'yo?
I don't think I don't think so.
Mhm.
Many of our colleagues might choose to maintain the kind of conventional journalism that they had been used to. Pero sadly kasi the ship will be leaving or sailing and marami sa atin mapapag-iwanan. And, ang maganda kasing ma-realize sa mga kasama nating mga periodista ngayon, it's very exciting nowadays to become a journalist. Of course, maraming pressure, maraming, challenges, but it's also very exciting because of the kind of, platforms or avenues available to us to tell the story, to tell factual stories.
Mhm.
So ngayon, 'di ba, the fact na pinag-uusapan natin yung beat 'no, traditionally sa Pilipinas, very geographical, eh. Very territorial yung understanding ng beat. So, Senate, House, Malacanang, Police. You're talking about the program ninyo, yung political beat, no? So, I suppose all things political. And I suppose mostly national. Eh, ang hirap kasi pag kinoncentrate natin yung coverage ng area and then nag-assign ng tao doon para hindi mabutasan ng mga storya. Maganda rin na mag-focus tayo rin sa mga stories that matter. Because
Mhm.
nowadays, it's not enough that we provide journalistic content. You have to make sure that that content really has an impact. Kasi 'di ba dati misnomer yung 'pag sinabi mong journalism should be relevant, because it goes without saying that journalism is relevant and factual. Pero ngayon kailangan mo pa rin ipakilala, eh, kasi ang daming kalaban, eh. Hindi tayo nagko-compete among other news outlets or networks, eh. We're competing among just about
Mhm.
every content creator out there. Yung mga
Mhm.
nagpo-post sa mga tungkol sa cuticle removal, yung mga naglilinis ng mga paa ng kabayo, lahat yun,
Kumakantang pusa,
ikakompetensya
mga
natin sa
ganyan.
atensyon ng
Mhm.
yun, mga
Mhm.
kumakantang pusa o yung mga dating human rights, advocate na
Na
nagpapanggap
kumakanta
na
rin.
advocate pa rin hanggang ngayon, mga gano'n.
Pero paano mo binabalanse, Christian, ang factuality, journalismo, opinyon at emosyon? Maraming pumupuna na ang mga kinakausap mo lang din ay yung mga halos kapareho mo ng mga sentimiento. Pero my God, may amazing na meron kang 5,600 videos sa loob lamang ng 2 taon. Grabing productivity naman yan. Kahit sabihin natin na marami dito yung mga re-edits, napakadugo pa rin nun, Christian.
Seryoso hindi ko alam, buti binilang mo, more than 5,000 ba? Hindi ko binibilang,
Nakasulat.
eh. Okey,
Mm.
okey. Hindi ganito kasi 'no, people need to understand na from from news reporting before when I was part of the, news media, yung, mainstream news organizations. Dito sa podcasting, I also ventured into opinion journalism. But when
Mm.
you talk about opinion journalism, it's actually a genre in journalism that you can come up with an opinion, reasonable conclusions or analysis, pero based on facts. Kaya nga
Mm.
naging title nung podcast ko is Facts First. We
Mm.
can come out with so many opinions as we like, pero dapat grounded in facts yung ating public discourse.
Mm.
Kasi ngayon na-realize ko, hindi natin puwedeng gamitin yung yung misunderstood concept of objectivity, yung, nilalagay natin yung sarili natin sa straitjacket
Mm.
and we're trying to restrain ourselves, from becoming even relevant. Kasi for instance, kalaban natin yung mga hyper-partisan content creators or vloggers.
Mm.
Yung mga hindi sila necessarily nagbabase sa facts, eh. Kumukuda lang yan, nagbubuka ng bibig at marami sa mga yan bayaran. Ngayon,
Mm.
paano siya lalabanan ng honest to goodness news report for instance, 10-paragraph story based on what's happening in the Senate now?
Mm.
Kulang yon kung hindi mo siya lalagyan ng konteksto. At sa
Mm.
context, kailangan you have to call a spade a spade. So, medyo very exciting itong format na ito because there are a lot of avenues for analysis and opinion. Pero I also guard against abuses or yung mga tawag dito, excesses dito sa content na ginagawa ko. What do I
Mm.
mean by that? I'm very, very conscious of the fact that I am my own worst editor. Bago ako magsalita, sinisiguro ko muna na kaya ko siyang panindigan at meron siyang malinaw na basihan. For instance,
Mm.
never ko sinabing magnanakaw itong si Sara Duterte. Never ko sinabing korap itong mga ito. Bakit? Kasi wala pa napapatunayan. Even if there are compelling pieces of evidence that might point to that kind of conclusion.
Mm.
Okay? For instance naman yung mga Marcos. Bakit pwede mo silang tawagin magnanakaw? Dahil meron silang ill-gotten wealth as established by the Supreme Court decision in 2003. Yung beyond dun sa kanilang legal income as a couple while they were in government, those were considered as ill-gotten. So basically, nakaw. So yan yung example eh. We have to understand the process before we come up with certain, let's say, impressions about content that are coming out sa mga podcasts like Faxverse.
Mm. Okay, you always talk about accountability.
Alam ni nanay na ang Colgate Max
Okay, pinag-usapan niyo palagi accountability, pero pag ang mga katulad mo, sino naman ang hold accountable sa inyo, Christian?
Public. And actually, accountability very instantaneous. Ngayon kasi, kunwari, as we do this interview, sigurado ako yung mga nakakapanood dito, maraming galit sa akin, meron ding ilang natutuwa siguro, instantly, they can hold you accountable. Pwede lang sabihin sa'yo, ikaw, Iskera, wala kwenta yung sinasabi mo. Bugok yung mga opinion na sinasabi mo. Kaya like kung challenge sa ganyan, di ba? Meron ba akong sinabing hindi totoo? At kung meron ako hindi sinabing totoo, doon niyo ako i-hold accountable. Pero doon sa opinion na nakabase sa facts, I think
Gaano
kaya ko
kahalaga,
ipaglaban yan.
Christian, gaano kahalaga para sa iyo ang pumatol sa mga comments ng mga trolls?
Actually, as a rule, hindi ko sila pinapatulan eh. Pero kunwari, minsan maganda yung gising na yung para bang wala ginawa, yung slow day, minsan may mga patol na moments eh. Pero yung pagpatol ko, hindi siya dahil galit ako rin sa nag-post eh. It's more of, gusto kong gamiting take-off point yung kanyang basurang opinion o sinabi tungkol sa akin to press a point. To make sure that the message would come across. Kasi for instance dati, nung panahon ng campaign for the 2022 presidential election, maraming yan, 'di ba? Magkakasama pa yung mga trolls ng mga Marcos at saka ng mga Duterte sa ilalim ng unit team. Merong unit team of trolls ng panahon na yun eh.
Mhm.
Dati, nung nasa ANC pa ako, nasasabihan ako bakit daw topic ko lagi yung Marcos, yung candidacy ni Marcos for the president in 2022. Sabi ko, ang reason ko rin sa opisina namin, it was not personal. I had no personal hate dito sa mga Marcos. In fact, no-cover ko yan nung senador yan si Bongbong Marcos. And he was a nice guy. My problem is, I know our history. Alam ko yung history ng mga Marcos. At na-cover din natin yun while we were a reporter. So ang sabi ko sa kanila, this was the most consequential Philippine elections post-EDSA. Imagine yung sunukan natin noong 1986, most likely mananalo because he was leading the surveys. And any journalist worth his salt should focus on this. Kunwari si Isko Moreno or si Leni Robredo o iba pang mga kandidato for president yung merong issue ng ill-gotten wealth o merong ganong history, di sila yung target natin, sila yung mas bubusisiin natin. Ang problema, it happened to be Marcos. I mean, that's how I think eh. And I think that's honest to goodness journalism.
Okay. Kung ikaw, Christian, ay nasa Malacanang press corps pa, ano sa tingin mo yung isang tanong na madalas hindi tinatanong ng mga beat reporters sa Malacanang kay Yusek Claire Castro? At sa mga Senate reporters naman, ano yung hindi na tinatanong kay Win Gatchalian, kila Senator Tulfo at kila Alan Peter Cayetano, halimbawa?
Pwede ba ako mas magsimula kay Alan Peter Cayetano?
Sige.
Kasi siya yung I think the most hated political figure today, except for him, no? Siya lang yung naniniwalang hindi siya hated kasi alam niya backed up siya ng Panginoon. Actually, nagkaroon ako ng
Ambassador.
confrontation before niyan ni Alan Peter Cayetano when he was the House Speaker because at that time, I was asked to cover for ANC and ABS-CBN the franchise application of ABS-CBN. And for the longest time, he was dragging his foot, the House under Alan Peter Cayetano. And then February 2020, nag-conduct yung House Committee on Legislative Franchises ng kauna-unang hearing, and I covered that. And after that preliminary hearing, nagpatawag ng press conference si Alan Peter Cayetano. So I had that opportunity to confront him with so many questions which I thought was not being asked by those covering him. And medyo matagal-tagal ang sagutan. And actually, I was getting messages from my office at that time. Sabi sa akin, stop it, stop it, stop it. Apparently, nanonood pala yung mga bosses
Boss.
namin. Sa akin naman, wala akong pakialam doon because I was just doing my job, no? I was just being a journalist. Ngayon dito, kung pag-uusapan natin ito, napaka-classic ng gaslighting nito sa Alan Peter Cayetano, di ba? Because he was talking about the rule of law, he's talking about accountability, he says, or in control of the leadership. Pero hindi nila, pero conveniently, sina-sidestep nila yung isa ring kabalastugan na ginawa ni Alan Peter Cayetano. Yung hinostage niya yung Senate plenary sessions for at least 2 days. At kung hindi nga napigilan yun on the third day sa Wednesday, di nagtuloy-tuloy, nag-adjourn ang Kongreso, both houses, pero may asterisk on the part of the Senate. Kasi dapat joint adjournment yung sinidi eh. Ang problema ni Alan Peter Cayetano, he was not holding that plenary session because he didn't want to lose the Senate presidency. Because natatakot siya na kung magkaroon ng session ng time na yon, mapapatalsik siya. And he would have been the Senate president for only a little over a week. So masakit sa kanya yon. At ginagamit na ng dahilan yung Blue Ribbon Committee hearing daw the following Thursday, which to me was very intellectually dishonest. Kasi niligay lang nila yung hearing na yon para magkaroon sila reason for holding hostage the plenary.
At
Pero
hindi ka rin pala
actually,
makakapagtanong, Christian, kasi hindi siya nagla-live press conference where you can
yun
actually
nga
ask
yung problema.
questions.
Illegal yung sinasabi niya. Oo. Dito
Okay.
naman sa Malacanang,
Malacanang,
ang
yeah.
sa Malacanang ako honestly, I would want to have a sit down with President Marcos. Kasi ang problema sa kanya rin, kahit nag-accommodate siya ng mga interviews, etc., alam naman natin na very controlled yung environment, no? And for the first time, I think we have a podcasting president. Di ba meron siyang regular podcast?
Yep.
Ang problema rin sa podcast niya, control niya yung environment at pinipili niya yung mga magtatanong sa kanya. Di ba?
Softball
Kung talagang-
questions, mga ganyan.
Yun nga, kung tigasin siya, edi he should conduct a free for all. 'Di ba? Free for all interview. Tanungin siya sa lahat ng mga pagkukulang ng administrasyon niya. Tanungin siya
mamarkahan mo
patuloy
ng-
doon sa issue ng ill-gotten wealth.
Kung gagraduhan mo si Auntie Claire, 10 being the highest, 1 being the... Anong grado bibigay mo sa kanya as spokesperson?
Marami kasing depende sa criteria na gagamitin natin, no. Siguro kung gagamitin natin yung criterion of her usefulness as an aggressive spokesperson for the Marcos administration, siguro 11/10 siya. Kasi siya yung ultimate attack dog eh. Kumbaga pang-bardagulan laban sa mga Duterte. Kasi yung mga Duterte bastos eh. Kailangan nila ng isang talagang sumasalag sa kanila.
Kailangan tapatan yung language.
That's perfectly Attorney Claire Castro. Pero ang weird dito sa setup kasi ni Attorney Claire Castro is that she's speaking for Malacanang, for the president, pero at the same time, she has her own
Podcaster din siya.
podcast. Weird sa akin yun eh. Kasi the moment that you take on that position of a spokesperson, you lose your voice. Lahat na lalabas sa bibig mo, whether you like it or not, reflects on your principal. In this case, the president or the office of the president. Pero at the same time, nakakapag-podcast siya. Kahit meron disclaimer yon, that doesn't change anything. Kasi hindi naman nag-iisip ng gano'n yung mga viewers eh. Hindi mo nasasabihin na, dito sa version na to, it's Claire Castro speaking as the podcaster. Dito naman Claire Castro as the spokesperson. Pero I realized na baka itong setup na to precisely ang gusto mangyari ng Malacanang para meron silang deniability. Because they know that the people won't make that distinction anymore. Anyway, so payagan natin si Claire Castro. Yung mga hindi niya masabi sa pulpit ng Malacanang, sasabihin niya sa podcast niya. Pero ito yung interesting last na, dadagdag ko lang, Lord. Katawa ko kasi nag-present ng findings yung Philippine National Police doon sa shooting incident sa Senado.
Yeah.
At natawa ko kasi mas maganda ba yung mga tanong ni Claire Castro doon sa ibang tanong ng mga reporter sa Malacanang press corps. Yung hindi matumbok ng mga reporter, siya yung nagtutumbok. After ubusin yung mga tanong ng reporters, that was the first time that I saw, having covered Malacanang before, yung mismong spokesperson, nagtatanong doon sa resource person.
Yes, naalala
Siya
ko
yung
yan.
umaanggulo. Kaya mas nagkaroon ng angulo yung mga reporters eh. Nakakatuwa, pero meron siyang use in terms of discourse. Kasi nga minsan, ang nakakabaliw dito sa diskurso natin, harap-harapan tayong ginagago, tinatarantado ng mga politiko eh. And minsan, nagiging nag-hold back sa atin yung idea na dapat tayo, very, very objective. Pero
Respectful
objectivity in
o
journalism,
neutral.
yes. Objectivity is not neutrality. Objectivity refers to our process of arriving at factual conclusions in our reports. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be impartial. Kasi pag merong isang taong mamamatay, tao na pumapatay sa isang biktima, kanino kakampi? Will you be neutral?
Pero Christian, sa huling bahagi ng ating usapan, kung manalo sa isang elective post si Ronald Llamas sa 2028, ikaw ang sisisihin namin. Tandaan mo yan.
Sana hindi mangyari kasi malaking ano yun, tagok at sampal sa ating sambayanan.
Alright. Maraming salamat. Christian Isguera, bitin ang usapan natin pero thank you for your time. At Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.